Welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live programs. Thank you for joining us today. Our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances and events from international artists delivered to the audiences around the globe. I am James Welch, and I will be your host today. We are presenting a continuation of the ColORCHESTRA auditions. We went all weekend, and we are still going through like 6 o'clock today with many wonderful auditions, with musicians auditioning for the opportunity to perform with orchestras worldwide. Auditionees from many countries are seeking guidance and support from the judges through live comments, which you will hear after each performance today. The The ColORCHESTRA auditions worldwide are organized by Artist Ventures, Sound Espressivo, Progressive Musicians, and Virtual Concert Halls in collaboration with Price Attractions, Vocal Artists Management, and Ciccerone Music and Arts. And we have many other partners, as you can see on the screen here. There's too many to just say out loud, but we thank you all for your support and your resources and your time, and yes. And now we have a short video to show you how it all got started with Sound Espressivo. Enjoy.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community. An extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
The goal of these auditions is to nurture and reward musicians who are proactive about sharing their art and developing their careers. Sound Espressivo and Progressive Musicians together, along with all of our collaborators, are providing opportunities for musicians to discover their unique artistic voice, take initiative, present themselves on their own terms, and carve out their own career paths. There are no restrictions as to how many auditions people can take and how many opportunities they can aspire to be a part of. We are expanding our reach, and we are streaming on all major platforms. We are, here they are, YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, all of them. YouTube's a little bit interactive, so if you want to leave us a question or a comment about somebody's performance, just say something nice, go ahead and do that in the YouTube comments, and one of our tech wizards can put it up on the screen for you, and we can respond. So we love to do that, so don't be shy. Be nice, but don't be shy. You know, like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and you'll know when all of our broadcasts are here. All right, so let's see a short video of our past ColORCHESTRA concerts and the upcoming concerts for the future. We invite musicians, educators, publishers, media managers, artist managers, and many others to share their insights to help musicians and everyone navigate the modern and frankly very confusing world of music. If you were not able to watch any of our previous auditions, just go to our YouTube channels and they're saved there on the world's DVR. You can watch all of them. We have a lot of great musicians doing great things with great music, and it's not to be missed. So click those links and enjoy all the wonderful music. That being said, we would like to continue with that music today. Right now, we are hearing auditions for Orchestra di Camera Fiorentina, and we have 5 wonderful people today here in the studio. And first, I would like to introduce the judges. Judging today is Dikran Atamian, aka Jack Price, founder of Price Attractions, pianist and artist manager, first prize winner of the Naumburg competition. And then we have Maestro David Rowe from the New Jersey Festival Orchestra and Orchestra Manhattan, the fabulous conductor, and has had many fellowships and awards and recognitions. And we are so happy to have them both here in the studio today. Guys, welcome. We have you both here in the studio.
Well, hello. Who's that other strange fellow? Oh,
did you bring the posse? I don't
you know, it's just us 3 today, so I mean, we're gonna have to try not to cause too much trouble.
In that case, James, we need your feedback. Oh, I had nothing to do with that.
Well, thank you, Christian.
I think you should be a judge, in my opinion.
Oh, I can be a judge, but I have to be a host too. But I'll say some encouraging words as usual.
No, nothing
it's
like
fun.
that. No,
So,
nothing encouraging. Sorry, it's not allowed on the show.
Well, then I'm gonna have to cause some trouble. Okay, so it's great to have you guys back here. We're gonna have a great time. We have 5 people, so we're gonna get going here with our very first person who is up first here. We have Carla Ald playing Mercadante Concerto in E minor, all movements. Carla, welcome to the virtual stage. Toi toi. Bravo! Wonderful. Great to hear you play, Carla.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing this to our stage. I don't think I've ever heard this concerto before. It was really neat to hear it. And you introduced it to me. So thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to the judges here. And I think we'd like to start with David. Would you go first?
All right. Hello, Carla. This is David Rowe speaking. It's a delight to see you again. And I think I remember meeting you at the Carnegie performance last month. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Yeah, it was a delight to see you. First, thank you for coming to that, and also thank you for introducing yourself. As in James's case, I'm also unfamiliar with this work. So one arm, when I have thoughts and make comments about this, one arm is tied a little behind my back. But let me dive straight in. I made copious notes here. Firstly, with regards to your playing, the thing that strikes me most about your playing is the sweetness and delicacy which you bring to the more lyrical passages of this concerto. Thank you for that. It's not always easy, is it, on a flute to cover the whole gamut of dynamic and expressive capability melody just by the nature of the instrument. It has this gorgeous, unique sound. It takes a real expert to create a variety of color on this instrument, and I think you do that really quite well in the lyrical parts of this concerto. So congratulations on that. It was really quite lovely, and for it to sound lovely on a compromised Zoom situation like this, that's a real credit to your artistry. I have just a couple of questions about the piece. The first question is, to my understanding, it's in 3 movements, correct?
Correct.
The first movement, after the initial exposition, if you want to call it that, and then it goes into a more lyrical section, is it marked in the score a meno mosso, or is it a lyrical section within the same tempo?
That's a good question. That is a largo, actually. It's marked as largo.
So you start out and then it suddenly hits largo.
Yes. So I stop the first movement. And
what is the tempo marking at the top of the piece?
there is none. I marked it as 63 to the quarter, but there is none. This is quite an old piece. I mean, Mercadante lived, as you can imagine, during the classical period of Italian classical. So around the time of Mozart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me tell you where I'm struggling just a little with tempo on this first movement. It's because I was a little at sea with regards to where I was tempo-wise in the piece. I was not sure should the opening be a little faster, or was the slow tempo in spirit too close to the opening, and I thought it was just a natural slowing down of what you were doing. And by the way, when you say it's marked largo, and then it suddenly kicked into passage work again, how does he?
I'm sorry to interrupt. The first movement is a faster movement, as typical concerto, and it's an allegro maestoso.
Okay, so but is there any? Okay, now we're getting to what I suspected. Is there any formal marking tempo expressions in the first movement other than allegro maestoso?
No, there is not. It should be one continuous, and very difficult to do without having, and I work with metronome, of course, to present a more cohesive tempo, but it's difficult without an orchestra behind you. Or
Understood. Okay, so then I would say, I would encourage you to keep your inner motor going in that first movement, because I suspected that the lyrical part was technically within the same tempo of the opening, but I felt it wandered a little and it got a little lost in the woods.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, yes, to play lyrically like you did and expressive, but I'd encourage you to keep that same tempo as the passage work happening prior to that and after that.
Agreed.
So a little like, first subject in a typical Mozart or Haydn or early Beethoven sonata form, concerto or sonata, it states out the tempi, then S2, second subject, is typically more lyrical, but it stays within the same tempo. So I would strongly encourage you to keep the memento going, keep that second subject material in the same tempo.
Okay.
That's the first thing I would, because otherwise you're given the impression that we're all getting a little lost there, and it's too much like a fantasy.
Oh, okay. Right.
So keep the tempo going there.
I'm going to reach for my, let me just move you guys over here a little bit, because I have to plug into the electricity. Okay. I am fine now.
Second comment I made, I also, of course, when, and this is just irritating detail, that in that passage work, when you're on stage and when you're performing with orchestra, I know that passage work is sometimes tough, but you have to nail it because the composer is in part putting that passage work in there to demonstrate your virtuosity.
Right.
So that's your opportunity to demonstrate your virtuosity. So make sure you do it.
Yes. No.
By hitting all the notes in the fast tempo. And that's just your homework that you've got to do.
Yes.
And I'm stating the obvious there.
Yes.
The only other thing I might mention, and this might be a phenomenon of us being on Zoom, but I would love for, in the faster, more articulated moments, for your tonguing to be a little more articulated, a little harder.
Okay.
For me, your approach, the tonguing approach in the faster sections, was just a little gentle, and I think there could be more edgy, harder tonguing to create a more explosive moment of the beginning of that note, as opposed to it going wah ta. I'm not a wind player myself, but I'm knowledgeable enough to know that you can create more dynamic difference and different styles of types of articulation through hard tonguing, softer tonguing, and I would have liked to see, even in the first movement, a little sharper articulation, to again differentiate between the lovely lyricism that you bring to the piece in those slower sections. But overall, I commend you for bringing this. I do not know this piece at all, and I commend you for committing to bringing to the world. It might be very well known in the flute diaspora, but for you to bring it to light for us is, for me, a pleasure, and I thank you for that. And with that, I hand it over to Dickren.
Dickren? Who's Dickren?
Jack Price. Okay.
Carla, as usual, you're absolutely... I mean, David, I can't say I disagree with you, but I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, this is one of the great flutists of all time. I didn't know whether Rampal was there, or Maxence Larieux, my buddy, or Galway or Boise or Baker, or who was on the stage. But I mean, come on. Have you ever heard her play the Schubert? I mean, come on, it's just phenomenal. I mean, Carla, that was absolutely magnificent. I I'm on my knees, as usual. The sound is, I'm not kidding. Okay, you guys think this is the comedy hour, but it's not. Okay. Although I have to say I had nothing to do with that. No, anyway, Carla Ald is one of the great musical talents of my time. That's all I have to say. I have heard her on many occasions. Absolutely impeccable. There were a couple of spots today, so what? Who cares? I don't give two hoots. But the point but the point is the sound and the technical control over the flute, I must say, is prodigious. And it's you just sound better than ever to me. Yeah, the piece is probably new, right, or something. You just probably tossed this off in 2 days, right? Yeah, I know.
A week. While I was I had a concert yesterday, so it's been like. But I'm
really?
not. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Come on.
I
mean, look, it was absolute. Yeah, can we have a gong here? So
No.
break this up. Thank you.
All right.
No, I mean, I'm talking about me. No, James. What? What do you mean? Okay, so
different
anyway,
show here, Richie.
that it was absolutely different show. Well, I don't know. I think it's all a show. All the world is a stage. Anyway, the point is, you played really magnificently, and despite it's not like I have no ears. I know it's a new piece and all that. Everything I've ever heard this person play has been magnificent, and you should be on the world stage. But alas, yeah, we need money. So no, it was fabulous playing, Carla, as always.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. And I heard Maestro Rowe's comments, and I all I can say is that I completely agree with what he was saying. The only The only thing I would say is that the Zoom quality may have not been, because I that's something that I teach, is the articulation and the different types of articulation available to us as flutists, and it may have been lost over Zoom. That's my only.
Could have been, yes. Could have been.
Well, we're not on Zoom here.
Whatever.
We're on a program that is supposedly getting rid of like all that filtered stuff. But the beauty part of all this is that you could go back and watch it later.
Oh,
You could go back and watch it right now as it's playing, and just So I mean, we're just subscribe, like, ring that bell on our YouTube channel, and you can watch anything that we've broadcast.
Okay.
well,
Yeah, even without doing that. But I'm just saying you should, because subscribe. Wonderful. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask, Carla, or anything else you wanted to add?
no, I just results of audition and that kind of sort of thing. If or do I?
We will be in touch.
We'll be in touch. Yes.
Our people will call yours. I haven't used that line in a while. Yes, our people will call your people. No, and there will be an announcement broadcast probably after the holiday.
Okay, and I thank you so much for your wonderful commentary. I take them all very seriously, and thank you for your time today. And that includes you, James. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, our pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That
Carla.
Great
does
to hear
include
you.
James.
Okay.
And with that, we will be moving on to our next
See you later.
musician. We have Lucia Tang in the studio, ready to perform Mendelssohn Piano Concerto in D minor, first movement. Lucia, the stage is yours. Break a leg. Bravo. Are we here?
Yeah, are we here? Are we
Here
here?
we are here.
Are we here?
Hey,
Are we
bravo, Lucia. Great to hear you again, and just wonderful to hear that you play the Mendelssohn again. I'm going to turn this over to the judges, and maybe we'll start with Jack Price first.
Okay, let's get to work. I heard this yesterday or whenever, what day, and it went a little bit better the other day, but is this the same person
Yeah.
that played
Yeah,
Mendelssohn
she was
D
here.
minor?
Yep.
Why are you laughing, David? I have the right to ask that question. Why? Listen, you cannot bring the posse in now. Okay. Now, Lucia, right? Lucia? Lucia Dell'Amore.
Lucia.
No, Lucia. Okay. Lucia. I like Lucia better, but you know, it's anyway. I also like Nike sneakers, so you know, some people don't. Yeah. Lucia. Okay, to be quite precise, the opening of the concerto, this is one of the great concertos. I mean, you know, it's really an underplayed and underrated piece. So let's not treat it that way, okay? So anyway, no, you've done a great job, but the opening is like an intro. I don't think you can it's a piacere, right? It says that in the beginning, right? We all know what a piacere means, right? What does it mean, Lucia? Ah. You think I don't know the repertoire, right? You missed the cue, man. This is not Doc Severinsen, okay? All right, so look. A piacere means ad libitum, you know? Like compose it on the spot. Use your imagination. It's not measured. So right? You see what I'm saying? I would have you play it now, but James is afraid I'm turning this into a masterclass, and David's smiling, but I'm not really sure why. But you see what I'm saying? I'm glad the audience thinks it's funny. Lucia, this is very free. Now the orchestra, as the maestra did, it's very beautiful, mysterious, as Anna always does. Makes the right sound at the right time. And she's probably sight reading it, so it would be even better. I'm sure if she practiced it like her 5 Rachmaninoff concertos. The orchestra sets the scene, right, David? But all of a sudden, the pianist is in another world. Okay? So, bom, pi, do, dum, bom, 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 di, do, 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 dum, bom, di, do, di, do, 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 do. I mean, it's so fantastically, it's like an arioso. It's one of the great openings of all the concerti. I know I say that about every piece, right? No, but you know, but this is the classical D minor concerto. You have Rachmaninoff third, you have Brahms D minor, you have Mozart D minor, and you have Mendelssohn D minor. Think about it; they're all quite related. Okay.
In a minor way.
If you think I'm on drugs, I'm not. I'm just very happy. Okay, so after that, you have the 5/7 chord, right, Lucia? And then you have the answer to it in the upper range. You know, we have this voice transfer, as Schenker would say. And then you do a piacere again, but you hint towards rhythm. Then you give David the cue. You see, you have to recover. Okay? A piacere only for a while. Why? Because that's the way it is. I'm not going to give you some ridiculous musical reason. It just is. What is, what isn't. That's what Gerhard used to say. Okay. And the orchestra is vital here, They interrupt you, you interrupt them, blah, 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 and then you go to town on the octaves. Now, the octaves, I'm not rushing, I'm just thinking of it differently. You're thinking of it very vertically and very clean and blah, 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 but actually, you will miss more notes that way than if you do it my way, which is not my way, it's the musical way. Think of it as a phrase like this, streamlined, moving forward horizontally like the horizon. Okay, not like a shooting star, It's like this way. Think of it as a phrase. Think of it as single notes, not octaves. And what will help you technically there is simple. Never pick your thumb up. Treat the thumb in the octave like a carriage on a typewriter. You just move it over. There are no octaves. There's no such thing as an octave, actually. That's what I've learned after years of goofing them all up. Okay, you see what I'm saying? You're not going to get the right sound in the octave passage if you treat it like an octave passage. Like, they say in these contests, oh, your octaves were really good. I go, what? And? There are no octaves. You just move it over. What did Mark Westcott say? What are you doing? Okay, so that's the word of the day there. Then once you get into the body of the piece, then you're with the orchestra and you're going to town. You've got to drive this thing. Otherwise, it's just a series of D minor arpeggiation and nonsense. Mendelssohn and all of them, it's like Salieri said about Mozart, or one of those guys from the Italian court. They said, what's with all these arpeggios and thirds and, scales? They make no sense. That's because they were jealous of Mozart. But the fact is, that's all it is, unless the artist makes more of it. Okay? I seem to have some drizzle here. If you make more of it, then we've got something. If you don't make more of it, we don't have anything. Okay? I can tell you're listening. Then you get to that chorale. Then it's like just fantastically, it's open. Your arpeggiation is open. You move, you go, you fly. Not this measured stuff, okay? But and don't lift your fingers at all. Just move them over. Like a typewriter carriage. Never lift that thumb ever, if you can. Of course, we know we have to let go of the thumb, but don't lift it. Okay, that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Jack. And we'll move on to David.
All right, well, after those few bland generalities from Richie, I'm going to talk in some detail.
I love
we can't wait, David. Go really for it.
I tell you.
All right, Lucia. Firstly, it's great to see you, and it was a delight to work with you last month, I guess now, at the end of November. And it's a joy that you're bringing back this piece of music again. You know what? You're such an accomplished person. I'm going to cut the praise because there's so many good things I could say about your work. You're an accomplished pianist. You're a diligent pianist, and you take this music very seriously, which is just wonderful. So I could spend an hour saying what I like about your work, but I don't want to waste your time. So I'm just going to go right for the throat in a good way, to offer some thoughts that I have about your playing generally. and this piece. So, and Richie really talked about so many of these in much more detail, and influenced some of the things I'm about to say in more detail. But I'm going to go a little more general. I'm completely puzzled with this piece of music. Is this what Mozart would have sounded like had he lived another 20 years? Is this Brahms's first concerto if he'd have been born 20 years earlier? It's nothing like Beethoven. It has the lyricism and loveliness of Mozart, but it has the richness and romanticism, and this is the point I'm going to get to and drill down on a little. It has the aggression and passion of Brahms, combined with his melancholy, whatever. But there's aggression there in this piece, and this is not your Midsummer Night's Dream, Fourth Italian Symphony, Mendelssohn, rinky dinky. I mean that in a good way, but sprightly, light, big smiles music. This has a weight and a grandness and a seriousness to it, which I agree with Richie, makes it just a wonderful piece and a precursor to the Brahms D minor in my opinion. So, Lucia, I would love you to approach it much more as something from the future, as opposed to something from the past. That's a kind of a fancy way of saying I would love to see much more weight and passion and power and pleading and a certain sense of unrest in your playing, generally speaking, than you're giving at the moment. It needs to be more expressive. You need to take it to a whole nother level of if you were playing the Brahms D minor. Bearing in mind that the way the music is written, so long as you don't hack it to death, it will still keep that late classical, early romantic feel to it, just because the way how Mendelssohn wrote it. But I need you to be more passionate, and more purposeful and expressive on everything that you do. It's a little academic for me. And I don't know what you have to do to get there. I think you love the music. I think I know. My understanding is you've not had it a long time, so it's going to ferment a little over this next 2, 3, 4 weeks and couple of months. But as you do that, I would even practice it more passionately for a little while, just for you to be able to go gung-ho and then sort out the technical issues while you're going gung-ho, while you're, thrashing around on the piano, just to solidify the acrobatics of it. So even in a passionate mode, because of course everything's easier when you're playing it like an exercise without the passion. You can be a little more technical and careful, but I would mix your practice between diligent, marking of the work to get to know exactly where your hands are, but also practice it once in a while, whole hog or full pelt, just to practice your own musicality. But I'm at the risk of repeating myself now. I need more passion from you in this piece of music, and with that, more dynamism and more contrast will come through, whether it be the mysticism of the beginning that Richie was talking about, or whether we're talking about this really quite pleading, passionate, quite aggressive passage work up and down the piano, or whether it be this lyricism of this beautiful melody, dee da da dee dee, da 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 dee da da. Even that you can make sing much more, of course, by using Rich's technique of with that thumb, but it needs to come out pleading more. It can't just come out as an exercise of how you can sing with the lower part, with your bottom three fingers, and still keep the passage work going with your upper fingers. It can't feel like that. It can't feel that you're doing something clever. It must move me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So now you've got to bring this piece to the next level of hurt and desperation and sorrow and all these things that are in this piece. And I think the way to do it is to, for want of another phrase, adopt gay abandon in the old days. It means just let it rip, even in your practice, and make those technical mistakes, but then say, right, I'm going to master the technique within the passion that I want to bring to the table. Does any of that make sense, Lucia?
Yeah.
Totally.
It does.
Wonderful. Well,
I want, yeah. I'm looking
and
at
wait till you get to the second movement. It's the most glorious piece of music. You're just going to flip.
How long have you been with this piece, Lucia?
Well, I started working on it over the summer, but we also had like other short pieces within, so I kind of put it down for a little bit, and then I picked it up again, like in November-ish.
Yeah. So again, that's what I suspected. As it ferments more in your body, you got to live, breathe, and make this piece come alive. See it as a going into the dark part. The first movement going a little more into the dark and sorrowful and pleading world of mid-romanticism, almost to late. Again, I'm making this link between the melancholy of Brahms, but also his power. And those two elements need to come through in this piece. I'm starting to repeat myself. I'll shut up.
No, it's
Thank
really
you, David.
profound, David. It's really beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Lucia, did you have any questions you wanted to ask or anything you wanted to add?
Well, I just want to say thank you for giving all these comments and taking time to listen to me. I appreciate it a lot.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, thank you for bringing this back to our stage today. I mean, this is a very fine concerto, and it's great to hear the path that you're on, and we're looking forward to hearing more from you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Our next auditionee is Naramene Bey, and she will be performing Glitter and Be Gay from Bernstein's Kunungun. Welcome to the stage.
Hello everybody. So before I begin, I just want to say that it is a backtrack piano accompaniment, so for some vocalizing, I will have to just be close there and put pause, do my vocalizing, and then play again. Glitter and be gay, that's the compensate for my fallen state, purchased as they were, at such an awful, awful cost. Bracelets and lavaliers, can they dry my tears? Can they blind my eyes for shame? Can the brightest broach shield me from reproach? Can the purest diamond purify my name? And yet, of course, this string guitar endearing. Oh, I'm also glad myself is a star. Oh, I also like a 20-carat earrings. Oh, and from the blue I kiss my jewels. Enough, enough. I'll take the diamond necklace and show my noble stuff by being gay and reckless. Oh, oh, oh.
Bravo. Bravo. Thank you for bringing this to our stage. I don't think we've had this in our auditions at all yet, and it was wonderful to hear you sing and bring the purity of the jewels to our stage. And since I'm going to turn it over to the judges, since we only have Jack Price here, I'll turn it over to Jack.
What happened to David?
I don't know.
Well, he's not present.
There he is. Okay.
I am here.
There he is.
Okay.
Oh, do you want David to go first? Or
No,
me?
you're up. You go first.
Well, how do you pronounce it? Nariami?
Neriman.
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 Okay. Well, I mean, it was just, I don't know. I've never heard anything like it. It was stunning. You know, sorry, I'm not a singer. I could go into detail, but what's the point? It was just phenomenal, I thought. The acting, everything. I mean, the singing was spectacular, I thought. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's quite a range you've got there, you know. I think any conductor would be pretty happy with booking you. And be willing to pay for it.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you so much.
there. Oh, it's just spectacular, beautiful, phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Great. Okay.
You're welcome.
So, moving on to David.
Hello, Narame. This is David Rowe. Thank you so much for bringing this piece to us. All right, I have a few thoughts on this. I'll start with just what I really, really enjoyed. This piece itself fits your voice like a glove. This is right down your alley. This is right up your street. This is fits like a glove, and 20 other analogies. Bravissimo. You brought the perfect piece to represent the best of what you can do. You have technically, completely, and utterly mastered this. And it is a heck of a piece to master on so many levels. But at this point, I'm just talking about technical. So bravo on that. I mean, I'll just go on a tangent for the second. One of the great challenges of anybody auditioning, but particularly singers, is to know what type of repertoire fits them and what doesn't. And you understand exactly what your capabilities, well, you give me the impression you know exactly what your capabilities are and what does suit you. And at the risk of repeating myself, bravo, this is the perfect piece for you technically.
Thank you so much, David.
Oh,
Thank you.
I've performed this work in concerts a number of times, and I've not heard it more accurate. And I've worked with some pretty darn good singers. So bravissimo. Now, let me talk about my personal opinion on some of the elements of it. Of course, it's in A-B form, isn't it? It has this one slow, doloroso section, and then she's completely charmed by money, glitz, and she shows her other side. The opening for me was too slow. And it also was too honest. Now, what I'm going to say about, let me explain what I'm going to say about this. You as a personality on the taking this, singing this, are a complete fake. You're a complete sham of a woman. And you are a caricature of a person. The way you sung the opening, I mean, if I didn't know Tosca, I thought I might think that it could be an aria from some tragic, serious piece of Puccini or
oh my God,
whatever. But so what I'm saying is that it lacked irony.
May I say you are really, really good with interpretation, because it's exactly what happened. Like, I thought in the beginning, I don't want to play too much fake. So I did it like a little bit more honest, exactly as you said. And then I went into the character.
Yeah, but I think you remain throughout this piece you remain a comic personality. And unfortunately, you know, in when you're hamming something up, or for example, in, you know, British pantomime, you can never be so honest and decent and quality and, you know, opera seria that you lose your ridiculousness. And it wasn't, the pathos should have been, for me, more ridiculous. And I think, but it's only a personal opinion. I mean, someone else might feel the complete opposite and feel it should be serious and convincing. But I think right from the start, I want to be laughing. But I wasn't laughing at the beginning.
Okay.
So you need to keep, I would recommend you think about right from the start, knowing that you're a ridiculous person and you're a comic person, and it needs to be a caricature of its opera seria opera. So therefore, and I think there's two ways you can achieve that. You can take the tempo just a little quicker and manipulate rather than singing, you know, ta 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 ta, you go ta 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 ta, dee 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 da da. Play with the rhythms just a little more to make it exaggerated in your sorrow, exaggerated in your pathos. It was just way too tasteful.
I used to do it like this.
Which would then, when the second section comes, be even more ridiculous. and we see, oh, of course, you're a complete fake, and it's all about glitter and pearls and money and whatever. And that makes the beginning, those slow sections, for me, funnier. That's the only thing and it's a personal thing, that's the only thing I would consider making it more corny, hamming it up more, making it more ridiculous, to keep every moment of this aria a buffo. Making it buffo, comic. Other than that, I thought it was nothing less than spectacular.
David, thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's just spectacular.
Thank you. Is there anything you wanted to ask the judges or anything you'd like to say? You don't have to.
By the way,
I want to thank them for their honesty.
I want to say something. Having said that, what I've said, and I'm saying I would take it faster, I'm suddenly realizing you can't take it faster because it's canned music, right? Your accompaniment was canned.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll go faster when you're conducting it, David.
That's a disadvantage. I'm sorry?
It'll go faster when you're conducting it.
Right. Yeah, that was a disadvantage you had going in. But
it is such a challenge to do it with the backtracking. Such a big challenge. Like, you have to remember exactly what moment he goes faster, some moments he goes slower. It's such a challenge.
Yes, but my sentiment is the same. And if and when we're working together, then we'll work on that in rehearsal.
Thank you so much for your honesty, really. And I just want to say that I performed it like quite a few times on live stage, and because it's an audition, it's a live audition, we are in front of a computer, you don't have the audience. You know that as artists, for me, like when I sing, I really, really love to share my emotions and my passion. So having the people in front of me, of course, like as soon as you hear like the first bum bum, you are into the character, and then you become this caricature. But like being in this settling, it's like it demands just a little seconds, I think, to really get into it, even though I know exactly what you're saying, and I've been doing this on stage, and I just love doing it.
Jolly good. Nariman, where are you from? Where are you right now?
Wow, it's are you ready? I'm French. My origins are Algerian, and now I'm living in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's
I thought it was something like that.
Jack Price is always right.
I'm always right. I knew it was some weird place, Yeah.
Wonderful.
Or background.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much indeed. And that
yes.
Thank
you for bringing this to our stage.
Phenomenal.
Great to hear you. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Oh, fantastic.
Our pleasure. And with that, we will be moving on. We have two more today. Our next one is Caden Griggs playing the Saint-Saëns Piano Concerto No. 2, the entire thing. And we are auditioning for the Fiorentina Orchestra here, and we are bringing Caden back to the stage. Welcome. Break a leg. Bravo. Bravo. Again, just another wonderful performance of the Saint-Saëns from you, Caden. Thank you for bringing it back to our stage again. And I'm going to turn this over to David.
Thank you. Hello there, Caden. Caden, it's great to see you again, this time digitally as opposed to last month when we were all blessed with the beneficiaries of your artistry. And indeed, again, we are the beneficiaries of just formidable playing on all counts. You know, I am a little with Richie, with some of the other soloists, at a loss of words what to say. It's so good on so many fronts, and so I'm actually going to be very brief. It's just top class. It's A+ on everything. And I know what you're going to. I've just got this gut feeling with playing like that, you're going to achieve what you need to achieve with ColORCHESTRA and any other audition that you're going for, to work with other colleagues. So very, very impressive. There's one little thing. If I'm scrambling for some constructive criticism to stay, and there's very little. But if I were to make one very, very brief, it seems almost trivial and facile, as I'm searching so hard to find something that I would like to see done otherwise. The only thing that I might say is at the beginning. And I'm going to embarrass Anna. At the beginning of the second movement, if you want to know how to play those upward going, listen to your accompanist. Now, what did she do, Caden? She started a little quieter, she played it lighter, and she crescendoed as she went up. Yes or no, Caden?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
No, not as much.
Right. So, and also she did some clever thing with pedal, actually, to make it sound staccato, but gave a little warmth to it and delicacy to it, probably with doing some very clever pedaling. But Miss Anna is your teacher, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk to her about all the tricks of the trade of what she's doing with pedal to make her accompaniment sound so spectacular. But in that one very moment, she created a wonderfully delicate and smiling upward chordal progression, and ask her how she does it. And then imitate it. There's no shame in purely copying something very, very good. Because ultimately, you'll copy it, you'll absorb it into your own body and your mind, and then it's going to come out your own. Someone of a technical and artistic caliber of yourself can't help but turn it into your own. So copy what you think is brilliant. You know what I'm saying, Caden?
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm going to hand it over to Richie.
Richie.
Okay, well, thank you, David, for that insightful information. And I'm going to send the posse after you right now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, okay, Caden, you know what I'm going to say. You're such a prodigious talent, and it gets better and better and better. I mean, there's some things in there that, I picked it all up. Don't worry. Total Recall. You played real, you take things to heart. So that's why I'm going to say what I'm about to say, because I love you and I don't want you to take this as criticism. It's just to make it better. Okay. Way better on every front, first of all. Just like David said, well, he didn't say that, but he's mesmerized by you. So, what can I tell you? this organ prelude, this Franck deal in the beginning is better. It's better. You need to flutter the pedal and keep that G there. We don't hear the G. We don't hear that organ prelude sound. Do not use the sostenuto pedal. Saint-Saëns is completely wrong there. So it's again a piacere, just like the Mendelssohn, but you need to flutter the pedal to keep the G. We need the pedal point. The bass is everything. It's the core to this opening. Okay, and then the beautiful improv up to the top, fabulous broken thirds. Okay, now, after that scream to the top, you've got to play the next four chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, in the character that you just left. You can't go pianissimo all of a sudden. It makes no sense. Okay? Dee-da-da-yum. That's the motive, and you got to go to the downbeat. Roll the chords if you want. Play the chords solid if you want. Saint-Saëns doesn't care. He's dead, so it doesn't matter. Just get to the downbeat, okay? And none of this pianissimo fluff, okay? Now, the next part, I would use two hands coming down, by the way. I mean, why play it with one hand when you have two at your disposal? It's just like, what's his name? What did the guy in England in World War II? Churchill said, "Why stand when you can sit?" You know, I love these sayings. We need to do another show about that. Okay, so then when you get to the bottom, boom, conduct this. Be David Rowe, and I know how David would conduct it. Boom. Beam, bum, bum, dum, dee, yum, bum. Then go off of it. Don't go all the way. Then yum, be, dum, ba, dum, dee, da, dum, da, dum, da, dum, priya. Okay? What's with this measured stuff? Let's not have measured stuff. Just go for it. Feel those harmonies. You're not feeling them yet. Okay. Then the next part, da, da, you know, the three chords. That I love that accelerando into Anna's downbeat perfect. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my boy. Okay, and then the next part is gorgeous, beautiful, melodic. Don't forget that dee-da-dum, boom. Dee-da-dum-bum-bum, dee-da-dum, not dee-da-dum-bum. But then you do the accelerando and the thing into her part fabulously. See, you know what you are? You're an oxymoron and an enigma and what's the other one, David?
He's the oxy, I'm the moron.
No, oh, that's very funny. I would not call you a moron, David. You're a very bright guy. Anyway, so the point is, you do some things absolutely exceptionally naturally, and then you do these completely wacko amusical things from, not amusical totally, but from what you just prepared us for. If you're going to prepare us for something, then do it. Don't prepare it and then do the opposite. You know, it's just doesn't make sense. Now, I have to tell you, then the next part, you need to use your sauce. You need to use the unicorda. I don't know. I'm sorry, Anna. I don't know if this offends you, but that's my middle name, offensive. Okay. The unicorda has to be used judiciously, sparingly, but smartly. Okay. It doesn't flutter like the damper like this, right? You seeing my hand? You can't flutter the unicorda, but you can do this. You're not even using it. Your left foot, you have big feet, by the way. Your left foot is planted on the left side of the piano like this. Are you ready for a wrestling match, or are you balancing yourself, or you need to be off balance. You need to have both feet on the pedals and use them to, I mean, come on, they were invented for something. Cristofori didn't have this at his disposal, but we do. Play L, maybe, The point is, what's that noise? Anyway, the point is, You've got to use the tools at your disposal. Tools at your disposal. Someone's talking in the background.
Sorry, I'll
Anyway,
shut it up.
Yeah, shut it up. Anyway, so the una corda especially will come in handy for you're playing at about half tempo, okay? So you have the fingers. I mean, as David is my witness, it says like in Gone with the Wind, as God is my witness, you can do this. You've got an arsenal of technical bravado, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I've rarely heard that, that kind of solidity. So let's use it. Burn some. Olevsky used to say, you've got technique to burn, so let's burn some fingers, or let's burn it, whatever, burn it, like in Braveheart. Remember, he burned the fort and he goes, burn it. And this phone's going nuts because we have an artist going to Ukraine, and you know how that is. It's very explosive. Anyway, so the point is, that's another thing. You need to play this dolcissimo. Wouldn't you agree, David? It's dolcissimo. I don't mean to start it like your octaves. No. It has to come in and blossom. See what I mean? It's got to be elastic. And then when you get to the sixths, I know you're panicking, right? How am I going to play those sixths? Very easily. What's the word? Thumb. You don't play like this. You play like glued to the keyboard, never move the thumb, never lift the thumb unless you have to. The thumb has to be in all the other digits. Correct? I don't get a resounding yes there. Okay, so then you go on to your agitato, and I think that's what he wrote. See, I know the score, a little bit. So it's you're too flippant there. You need to make it say something, not just a bunch of octaves, okay? And no retards really at the end, which you're pretty good at, except at the very end. Da-da! Scream it. Beautiful. Then your next part is much improved. The interlocking octaves. All that stuff is much better. But it needs to be much more ferocious. I mean, you really have to be like a bat out of hell there. If you're not, then all the stuff before it makes no sense. So be careful for what you pray for. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to prepare us for this screaming match, Saint-Saëns knew what he was doing, and he could do it, by the way. What a phenomenal pianist he was. I mean, absolutely ultra phenomenal. I mean, he could give Tausig and Liszt a run for their money for sure. So anyway, you've got to just devour the piano. It has to be timberwood like Savage at the end. Timberwood. Nothing left of the piano. And then you can do your chorale. And then Anna's soaring here. Right?
Yeah.
Your little. Yeah, that's great. You don't even have to play it that loud. You're just accompanying her. Stay in the key. Don't move your thumbs. Keep them down. No missing them, Then, okay, then it's fabulous until you go, don't, boom, boom, boom. What is that? Are those burps? No. The harmony doesn't call for any kind of detachment there. If Saint-Saëns wrote dots there, he's wrong. It's what the texture creates. It has to be born out of what you just did. It's baby. Those four notes, those four octaves are the baby, the progeny of all the arpeggiation. Now, It's not nearly mysterious enough. You can.
By the way, can I interrupt? You just going back
absolutely
to those dots on those chords. Beethoven sometimes wrote dots on the chord to imply heaviness.
Very good.
Not staccato.
Okay, it doesn't. Well, first of all, staccato is a misnomer.
To support your point.
It just means to release the hand or the finger from the note. It does not mean to be like a chicken going.
Agreed.
It's agreed. It's ridiculous to treat the Brahms dot and the Mozart dot and the Dvorak dot like they're all the same. First of all,
that would be dotty.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway. Not to be long-winded, but I think it's important because you're such a talent. See, you're not varying it enough. You're playing what's on the score. There's nothing on the score. It's naked. It's all it is a roadmap. Saint-Saëns did not leave it. He leaves it to you. Remember the lawyers and the judges interpreting instead of enforcing and being expedient? You're enforcing the law and you're making it expedient. You're not interpreting. Use your mind because you have one. So all of that has to be much more improvisatory than the biggest crime of all. You're playing it. I mean, it has to move. I know it's hard, but sorry, life's hard. You got to move that. Yeah, and there's a way to do that too. And you already know the answer, the thumb. Keep it on the keyboard. Don't lift it unless you have to. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Move it like a typewriter carriage, like this. There's no this. It's this. Like that. It's not tight. It's loose. Then you're good, except in this sort of contrapuntal part. Don't make the left hand so, interrupting. It's not going to interrupt the right hand, okay? Then it's pretty good. And then wait. You see what I mean? Okay? Yeah. And then agitato into the E flat major arpeggios. Move it. I know, again, that's hard, but you got to articulate those, and you've got the fingers. You go right up that arpeggio like I've never heard before. So, and then Anna pushes you in the end with those G minor arpeggios. It's fabulous. Fabulous. And then the whole concerto ends perfectly. The only thing I think is you need a structural pause at the end. Dee-da-da-dum, yum, bum. Not, sometimes you want to rush into the finale and not have a structural pause. I think David would agree. We need a structural pause on the 5/7 chord going into the tonic. You can't go.
I agree.
Dum, ba-dum, 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 dee-dum, yum, yum. I mean, that's what you need. Okay? End of discussion. It's going to be fantastic. You do those things. Thank you. He's gonging me, Caden, by the way. He's not gonging me.
And with that, we must move on.
And with that, we must move on.
Yeah. Caden, is there any questions you want to ask?
Well, I'd just like to thank all the judges. I'd like to thank you for giving me all these comments. It's like a year of work that you've given me. And also...
I'd like you to repeat them back to me right now.
Wait a minute. Can I take a minute? I know I've taken my license. A second. Wait a minute. I forgot your name now. Jesus Christ.
It's David.
David. No, not David. No.
It's Caden.
No, your
and I'm
name.
James.
James.
I'm James.
We
have Caden in the studio, and David's judging with you. You're Jack Price.
I mean, look, also, I'm in cognitive decline, okay, if you must know. Caden.
Oh, what's your question?
No, it's not a question. It's a challenge. Caden, I want you to challenge me right now. Tell me I'm wrong somewhere. Now.
You're wrong about the left pedal during the first movement.
Okay, and how so?
Oh, here we go.
Come on.
I was just pointing out a random spot.
You mean you don't want, what do you mean left pedal? You mean una corda? You don't want to use it?
Has he got one on that piano?
He does. Yeah. Okay. So if I may interject.
You've got to use it judiciously. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. In your advanced state, you will be often asked to defend your choices, and that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that you make your choices and you make a convincing argument as to why it works for your performance. And if Jack Price doesn't like that you're using the soft pedal, but you like to use it, you make it work. You make it work for your performance,
I think he's not referring
and you prove
to
it to us that way.
I think he's not referring to the soft pedal. He's referring
the
to the
sostenuto pedal. Sorry.
No. I'm referring to the una corda and not use the sostenuto, but use the damper for the fluttering to keep the low the organ prelude G. No. It's never mind. He knows what I'm talking about. He just disagrees. That's fine. That's good, Caden. That's what I want.
And you're allowed to disagree. Yeah.
You are absolutely allowed.
Yeah.
And
this
I may be wrong.
Extremely advanced stuff. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we do in doctoral dissertations. I'm not kidding here. I mean, but that's the level that you're playing at, Caden. And that's really wonderful. And congratulations to you on that.
Congratulations. Great job.
Yeah. We are going to let your brain process all of this, and we're going to move on to our final contestant for this session. We have Mei Fang playing the Liszt E-flat Major Concerto. Mei, welcome to the stage. Bravo, May.
It's
Wonderful to hear you again on this fabulous list. I'm going to turn it over to the judges here, and I will bring it over to David Rowe first.
Hello, May. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good. What town are you in right now?
I'm in Greencastle, Indiana.
I'm sorry, where?
It's Greencastle, Indiana.
Oh, wonderful. Okie doke. May, this is just very, very beautiful playing. I was quite moved. And this piece of music is in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, and you bring it alive just wonderfully. As you were playing, I rushed to the internet to dig out the score because I didn't have it handy, just to see, what you were doing in addition to what there was there on the score. But of course, a piece of music is just lines and dots on a page until an interpreter comes and brings it alive. I have very, very little to say, May. It was just, I was profoundly moved by it, and I thought it was an exceptional presentation. I mean, for me to make any constructive criticisms, it is very difficult for me because your concepts of touch and concepts of color are so at such a high level of what you're playing. I'd have to be in the room. I'm even struggling a little to make a judgment call on whether your voicing was ideal as it could have been, because it was pretty darn good in most of it. But the sensitivities of that I could only pick up if I was in the room. And if there was anything I could say that struck me as perhaps something to think about, was just left-hand voicing. But that could have been the piano. I don't know if it's a powerful enough piano. Is that, 7 foot?
No, it's sort of a 5, it's
5 and change.
They don't make these anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, so
like
it's a tiny little thing, and those upper registers weren't singing so much, but I suspect that's nothing to do with you, but rather the combination of the piano you're playing on and our connection here. But I did just sometimes find that the left hand was overwhelming the right. And so, but bearing in mind that, when you're playing this in a hall with 2,000 people, you need the whole instrument to project. So it's difficult to. Jack is the real expert on this, and he'll comment on this when it's his turn. But I might say that sometimes I felt the left hand was overwhelming the right. I don't know whether that's whether that's the piano or that was something to do with you. And so that's the only comment I would make of how to get a more singing cantabile, long arch to the right hand, as opposed to make it 1,000 little moments of beautiful moments, but not necessarily tied together completely.
Okay.
With that, I'll pass it over to Jack.
Yeah, Jack Bryce.
Okay, well, we don't have much time, I've been told, so we'll just get to it. It was, May, that was fantastic playing. The piano's dead. The technician has no idea what they're doing, whether it's male or female, I do not know. The piano could sound brilliant, even if it's the voicing is totally off. It's a mess. We know that. Okay, so forget that. It's not in your power but you have a lot of power. I mean, there's no lack of, it's not muscle. You have a fantastic leverage at the piano. I like the angle of descent. You know what I mean? You know what you're doing. It's, there's no need to talk about it. I would say at the end of the first movement, you need to make that more rhapsodic instead of why does everyone play that so fast? all these parallel E flat, like in the Tchaikovsky, it needs to resonate. And I don't mean that the piano's dead and it didn't resonate. You were really going at quite a clip, sort of anticipating that run at the end, which, admittedly is tricky. You did that one better yesterday. That was, I think, perfect yesterday, if I'm not wrong. But today it was a little, the what do you call it? The coordination was slightly off. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I mean, all I'm going to do is try to impress everybody with what I thought of this, that. It's nonsense. You're a great pianist, and with a few, changes, not dynamically, but if you're in a big hall, by the way, you have the honor, everyone here lately, of having Rico Saccani listening to this broadcast. He's one of my conductors, and he's enthralled with this whole setup. And he thinks you're quite a pianist, but he made the offer. He's in Iceland and he's not on the show. But I'll just say what he's been telling me here because he cares. He's a very considerate guy. In a big hall, you would have to obviously alter your approach, shall we say. Everything has to be, it's like acting on a stage. You have to telegraph the message. You can't, it's not like a movie where they've got the camera shoved right up your nose and you can be Anthony Hopkins 24 hours a day and move a little muscle here and it's, oh my gosh, what did he just do? You can't do that on the stage. You can't do that on your stage. You can do that maybe here. And by the way, where there's so many subtle moments in your playing, I rarely have heard the Listy flat this way. I mean, Rico plays the living daylights out of it. It was his signature piece at 18 when he signed with Cami. But this is a different Listy flat. I told you that yesterday than I've ever heard, and it is very dynamic too. Your tempos are very challenging, but I would caution you to be more ever present in the key when you're playing quickly. Okay, you're a little bit, I know the piano's dead, but it's a little superficial in spots only, and you know where they are. So I'm not going to insult your intelligence. When it's fast and frilly, and it needs to have more bolette kind of sound. That roar. And in a big hall, believe me, bolette projected in a hall. I mean, there was, he was the titan of the keyboard. And I'm not saying he was infallible. No, he had his problems too, just like we all do. But the point is, the end of the first movement, not too fast. I don't think David would like to go that fast either. It's just too chaotic. Trying to fit those E flat arpeggiations into this so-called vertical beat. It's not wise. Make it a tempo. I mean, the whole piece is ad libitum, right? I mean, come on. There's not much here that's structured to the point that, everything has to land on the first beat and the third beat and, blah, blah, blah. Take a tempo in the coda that you can do it tonally. Okay? All right. The slow movement is very good. The arioso and all of that, very, very good. The piano's dead there, so, that will solve that problem. Those screaming matches. And by the way, I just really admire your the sixths going down. Aren't those sixths?
It's kind of tritones.
Yeah, I really love the sound you get there, and it's so facile. That's the word for it. It's like Quicksilver, the way you play that. It's just tremendous. Yeah, I like it. Great job.
Thank you, Jack. And May, do you have any questions you want to ask?
Actually, could I ask a question?
Yeah.
To Jack's point about projection, and especially since we have also Mr. Rowe here, the second movement, would that more or would that work
Yeah, I mean, it has to be more of
Because
what you're doing.
I kind of rather wanted it intimate, but with that
Yeah, but I,
much.
I know what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
but when you do yo, ba, 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 bee, ba, 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 rah, that thing in the bass, and then how Liszt growls. First of all, the first one's too staccato, like we were discussing here. The second one, you held it a little bit like a portamento. But it's not even portamento. It's just a growl. It's a growl. This is very, he's really pretty pissed off there. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to do a programmatic approach to the piece, I don't think he's too happy there.
Yeah.
Probably some person pissed him off in the audience. Who knows? But the point is, dee da 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 dum da 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 dee da 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 dum yum da dum bum bee. See, your arpeggiation was great. The piano's just dead, but I heard every note. But you won't hear it on a dead piano in a big hall, so you've got to really, I would say, transfer that power and weight from the thumb to the fingers, so they're not playing like this, but they're playing like this. See, I can't stress this enough. The thumb has to play in each of the other digits mentally. Obviously, you're not going to put your thumb on top of your third finger, like Gary Graffman used to play octaves with 1 and 2, Did you know that? It was unbelievable. Anyway, but that's because, his hand was bothering him, so he played it with 1-2 instead of 1-5. I don't know how he did it, but it was quite magical.
I've done 1-4, not 1-5.
No, 1-2. I'm telling you. Yeah, so anyway, what you need is, forget about the deadness of a piano. You need, we have 5 minutes, right? You need a different approach there, okay? But it's the same approach, only more, okay? So if you're still gliding like a typewriter and not going up and down, which is wonderful, which you do very well, by the way, do it even more. In other words, let the shoulder get into, the body has to play the piano. Quite honestly, that's what I want to say, not the fingers. The fingers just depress the notes. The body's playing the piano. And Tobias Mate and all those crazy nuts, they all think, the hyperimpediment and all this stuff. I mean, it's nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's all baloney to sell books. The real truth is the torso has to do the work, which is attached to the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and then finally the fingertip. And that's where fingertip awareness comes in. Yes, you have to have fingertip awareness, but it's not what actually plays the notes. And the angle of descent also, which your angle of descent is quite good, by the way. So you're way ahead of the game. You just got to, alterations.
All right. Well, with that, we are running down on time here, so we're gonna have to stop here. But May, thank you for bringing this back to our stage again. It was a beautiful performance. It was great to hear you again, and we wish you all the best. Excuse me. Oh, we wish you all the best. And for that, we will sign you off here. Judges, thank you so much for all of your time and your expertise. We will be back with some of you or all of you, I don't know, in 10 minutes when we are auditioning for the Paducah Symphony Orchestra and the Royal Philharmonic. So everybody stay tuned for that. I would like to just take a moment to thank all of our supporters one more time. We have so many people supporting this, our events and our auditions and our concerts, venues, organizations, people. They give money, they give resources, they give recruitment, they let us stream on their platforms. It's just too much support to mention all of at once, but we are very, very appreciative of it. We are streaming on all the major platforms. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Vimeo. Twitch even, and see, we've had some great interaction today with the comments. You can leave comments and questions. We'll put them on the screen. And thank you to our tech wizards for doing that. And here they go. We have a buffet of wonderful comments there. Okay, and speaking of our tech team, we have a wonderful tech team behind the scenes flipping all these switches, making us look great here today. We have Kiki directing, Frane on tech checks, and thank you guys for everything that you do backstage. With that, we are going to sign off. I am James Welch here for Progressive Musicians and Virtual Concert Halls. We will see you in 10 minutes. Bye now.